How are we all feeling? You're all feeling inspired, a bit skeptical, a bit nervous. How are y'all feeling? I mean, AI is a really tough topic. I follow it quite frequently due to my interest in the technology world and also my background, also just as a technology kind of person. We just follow this information. And honestly, there is a lot to be scared about. There's a lot to be concerned about, and especially when it comes to young children whose minds have not developed yet, that don't have the discernment or maybe necessarily critical thinking skills that we as adults with our fully formed heads that haven't had to go through a TikTok age um, have. Like we're thinking very differently and we will see the world very differently from them. So when we say, oh, well, they just have to do this, maybe those students can't. And I think we can kind of see that with some students coming in that are struggling with maybe some of the basic foundational skills. Like they can't even play by themselves necessarily when put together. They have very poor executive functioning skills. You have to give them a to-do list because they can't think of what they're supposed to do. If you just say, well, go edit a video, they're like, what do I do? I have to have a step-by-step checklist. So when we think about AI, I'm personally very hesitant. I'm more on the hesitant side, to be honest, about introducing it to students as a student-facing interface. Do prove me wrong if you see great examples, but I think personally, like I would not emphasize AI, especially at the K to, 8 level, maybe in high school. It'd be very, very interesting. There's interesting use cases in English classes, like they would learn how to construct a prompt, but then the output that would be generated would be printed out for the student for them to analyze and decompose. I thought that was a pretty interesting example of prompt generation and use of AI. But yeah, that's just some of my little takes overall. And I'm still very old school, so yeah, I do want to emphasize that this day in particular has been restructured because I noticed that a lot of people are interested in AI. And so I started looking into AI a little bit more. And I want to demystify AI. So we don't want to see AI as just a box. We want to see AI as like, what do I, a developer or whatever, Brisk, Magic School, whatever you name it, every AI agent out there, what did they see in order to construct the responses that you see? Because whatever is being spit out to you is actually human, there's a human input. So not only is there bias in the data set and whatever that everyone likes to talk about, like, oh, there's not enough, images of Black people, or oh, maybe all of the content is from ChatGPT is from the Western world because it's based upon the English language. And so therefore, like, they don't have anything related to China because it doesn't analyze Chinese texts. Um, but there is a lot of things that the developer also has control over. So when you're playing with a chatbot, the developer has a lot of variables that they can tweak, and it highly influences the output that you will see. And we'll actually play around with that when we kind of construct a mini OpenAI thing. But whew, let's go to my lovely slides. And thank you so much for the people on the panel and happy, 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 and all of that. So, okay, let's go to my, oh, I'm still here. Okay, lovely chat. And let me go into my slides. And I heard this a little bit. We talked, they were talking about process over product. And before that, I do have a midweek survey. Please, at some point, fill it out because it will help us make this just better. This is our first time running it, so please be critical. I want criticism because that's helpful for me. Thank you. And let's go ahead and get started with what can AI do? So I don't know if you guys heard of this song yet. It peaked at #1 spot on Spotify UK in Sweden and Norway.
Nicole, share your slides so we can
Oh,
see them larger, please.
here we go.
Thank
Sorry.
you.
Dust on the wind, boots on the ground, smoke in the sky, no peace found. Rivers run red, the drums roll slow. Tell me, brother, where do we go? Raise your hand, don't look away. Sing out loud, make them pay. March for peace, not for pride.
So, this song is completely generated by AI, 100%. And this peaked at the #1 spot for Spotify UK, Sweden, and Norway. So anyone out there who's like, oh, AI can't be creative. AI won't replace us. AI it's here, but it's not gonna take over. I don't know. This song's pretty good. Similarly, The Land of Machine Memories is a prize-winning AI story that shows the future is here. I have the link that talks about the article. And this was actually, it goes through the article. It was a novel created using fully with AI by Shen Yang. He's a professor of the School of Journalism and Communication at Tsinghua University, Beijing. It's basically the MIT of China. And yeah, it won a prize. So he formed it with 66 rounds of dialogue through the AI program to draft 43,061 words that eventually produced the prize-winning story of 5,915 words. So Julia makes up a great point, which is, well, there's a human programmer in all of this. So technically there's like a human person behind it. But when we think about it, how much time does it take for you to draft 66 prompts and then edit it versus you writing the entire novel by yourself? And it almost becomes a really big question that I think, as educators, and like I'm a parent now, so I think a lot about this too for my kids. It's like, how can we basically tell our kids that, effort is worth something when someone can do it in such a short amount of time with just AI? And it's a struggle. Because it used to be before that we saw this graph of Bloom's taxonomy and we're like, okay, creation, that is the keystone of understanding. That's the keystone of success. That shows that this subject, you have mastered it. But the problem now with AI is that we can't show this pyramid chart anymore. This is now obsolete because AI provides a fluent output that's probably better than, most people's output. And it doesn't engage students in iterative revision. The panel discussed it briefly, but I linked it also in the chat. There was an MIT study out that was talking about how students, they just copy and paste the essays and they don't go through an iterative cycle, and essentially they didn't learn that much. So it's worrisome, and we have to, as lesson designers, think about what are authentic tasks that we can do now to try to get students to be where we want them to be. Because obviously we don't want them to copy and paste in their information, just be one and done. We talked about that at the very beginning of the week, that a lot of students are just, they just want the minimum amount of work and that's it. We've never had more technology than ever, and yet it seems like we're dumber. So I don't really think technology is quite the answer because, the trend's not showing great things personally, I think. So maybe we have to think about how we can reframe our learning experiences. And that's why I really believe that we need to tap into our students' interests and identity, because it's not about, oh, I created this essay and then it's one and done. I finished a product. We want this product to be embedded within the student identity. We want this product to be something that the students care about. And how we could do that, of course, is by layering different elements and all of that. And so one question when I'm designing things, I'm like, is it easier for students to do it themselves or to just like fake it with AI? Because some tasks, of course, are just like impossible or much, much harder to do. Uh, uh, much harder to do with AI than it is to just do it yourself. And I think that's what we have to kind of focus our at the back of our mind, like how we're going about our instruction. I do think AI can pretty much do everything. It'll just take more or less time. So I have some practical guardrails, and I do have to admit that ChatGPT helped me a lot out with all of these. So one of the things that I personally like to do though, is always make the process visible. So anybody have like design notebooks if you do like STEM classes or even like science classes, or if you're doing an English class, like those writing journals, those are huge. And making it so that that design notebook or uh, that reflection of learning and tying that into the assessment, I think is really huge. So, of course, encourage self-reflection, self-check-ins, peer feedback. We talked about it before. Peer feedback is huge. Peer pressure always makes people more likely to do things themselves. Add personal elements. So that's voice recording, sketches, handwriting, things that are just a little bit harder for AI. And of course, if you're going to use AI in your classroom, then require students to label, what did AI help you with? What's yours? And also, what did you change? Because if you didn't answer that question, what did you change? Then maybe the AI policy should be rethought. So, in the chat, I'd love to see, uh, type 1 to 4. Do you see more process or product? 1, lots of process. I see how they think in my class. 2, some process, but it could be clear. 3, just the polished final. Or 4, I'm not really sure at all. Ah, great. Where a lot of people are doing process. Okay, so we can share lots of ideas on how to make it even better. Okay, great, great, great. Okay, so if it is possible, uh, I would like us to take a few quick minutes maybe, and maybe we can like go over how we're evaluating students and seeing process in our classrooms, so that we can get some new ideas, because I'm sure we all have some great things to share. But I know a lot of us here are just like chilling and listening in, so I'm not sure how the best way of doing it is again.
I think we could make breakout rooms and put people in at random, and then if anybody ends up in a room by themselves, just bounce back to the main room and I'll reassign you. How's that sound?
Okay, let's try that. Let's try that.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna let participants choose the room maybe. So this way they know that they're in with somebody else. How's that sound? Or I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
How much time do you want in the room?
Just a quick share. We'll just do like, I don't know, 10 minutes or something, 15. I don't
Okay,
know how long is a quick. If no one talks, then we can all go back.
very good. Okay, rooms are open. So
Okay.
if anybody ends up in a room where they're alone, come back to the main room and I will move you. If you cannot find the breakout button, let me know and I can move you over.
I guess I'll go to room. I don't know. Join room 1. People are in room.
Hi.
Hi, hi.
Just so you know, once we're in breakout rooms, we actually can't get back.
We can't
Um,
get back?
no, like so for example, every time we go to the tech room with David, he has to send us back. He has to pop up the option. It's also not
Okay.
letting me take my video off. Oh, there it is. Now it is. Okay.
Let's
But
see.
yeah, just so you know, like that's been the whole few days. Um, it doesn't, when we go to breakout rooms, there's no option for return to main session.
I think it's because the main session is there's no room for main session, so you can only go into a room. I think that's what it is.
And there's no option to return. So we've always had to wait till you bring us back, or like for example, when we were in the
Ah.
he had to pop up the
Okay,
option.
so I think I see like you can go and jump rooms, right?
Correct. You can jump
Okay,
from
so
breakout room to breakout room.
yeah, what I will do is during the main share, I'll go into a room, and then if people want to follow me along, I'll stay in that room so people can also hop back into my room. So we'll have a tech room and a code along with me room, and then the other breakout room so people can hop back and forth. All
Yeah,
right, good point.
it's
Thank you.
it's sort of weird that we can go to any breakout room but not yeah. So like for example, I can look and if you want to hop to a different room where there's more people, um like I can hop to room 2 or 4 or
Yeah,
5 or
yeah.
7.
I
Okay.
see how it is because it's like I have to like it's you're considered unassigned. You're not in a room. So if I'm
Right.
still doing stuff, people can't join back the unassigned area.
Right.
Okay, that is very helpful. Thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
You learn something new about Zoom every day.
I know. And Zoom is not my happy place. I'm a
Ah,
Google Meet girl.
okay. I'm a I don't know what I am, girl.
Although honestly, anything other than Teams. I hate Teams,
I
but
hate Teams. Teams is the
yeah,
worst.
Teams is awful. Zoom's okay. I'll live with Zoom.
Okay, well, I'll let Paige know that so that way we can always make sure that we're always everyone is in a room. So that way
Yeah.
we can hop back and forth. Okay, that's great information. Thank you. Anyway, how do you do stuff in your class? I feel like there's like a lot of people in one room and there's like nobody here. Nobody
I
likes
know
us
that's why
here.
I was like, should we be hopping to another room? Like I feel bad. Like should we, the
Yeah,
three
we
of
can
us,
go hop. Or there's another
should
person here.
Heather? Hi, Heather.
Hello.
Oh, well, if Heather's here, that's fine then.
Ah, sure.
Heather, you
Unless
make it
Heather.
all better.
Woo!
I was like, it's just me and Rachel here. It's a bit
No, I joined.
lonely.
I joined.
I mean, I like Rachel and all, but it's a bit lonely just the two of us.
So wait, what was our prompt again, Nicole? What are
It's
we?
how are you making learning visible in your classroom? So that way I can learn from all of you and we can all learn from each other because I'm sure we all have great strategies.
So Heather, you want to start since you just popped in?
So this is kind of a funny question for me because I have spent the last 10 years as an instructional technology coach at the district level. And due to district funding issues, I am now back into the classroom for this coming school year. So I'm a 20-year veteran of teaching, but have been out for a while. So I can't address this as easily as somebody who maybe has been in for a while. And I've been primarily working for like the last couple of years on like coding and robotics with K6. So, that's kind of me pushing into classrooms and doing stuff. But how do I make learning visible? I mean, are you specifically thinking about this in the AI as the AI conversation? Like how
Just
to,
in general,
or
just
just
in general.
general?
Yeah, because to me, if you
I
make learning visible, you're already hitting the AI
Right. So
conversation.
I'm super into project-based learning and authentic products and tying all of the learning as much as possible to real-world applications. So anytime that I do work with kids, I want to make sure that they understand that this isn't in isolation. And so, like highlighting, okay, well, we're doing, I don't know, this math project on, having a robot calculate, go area or, something. And having them understand, okay, well, the robot, we calculated some area, we had the robot, move this way to like create the perimeter of a space. Why is that important? And then we go, well, do you live in houses? Because that's a really good school, tool for building houses is understanding perimeter area measurement, blah, 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 blah. Because without it, we wouldn't have buildings and all these other things. And so that's kind of the way that I like to frame it is in practical reality.
Great, great, great.
Cool. I'm on the same page, project-based learning, 100%. I feel like that's the best way. I think you've got a huge head start with coding and robots. Like I know I introduced coding and robotics into my K1 libraries this year, and you're able to basically represent any kind of curriculum that you want. You can tie it in with anything and let them show their learning, whether it's, the water cycle and they're coding the water cycle, or whether they're coding sight words or sentence structure or, um, you know, a story arc. You can pretty much code or do robotics for any curriculum, which I love. And then, for me, I also really like to bring in things like book creator. They can show their learning in a really creative way and when they're writing their own story. It can be nonfiction, it can be fiction. If they're learning how to write personal narratives, giving them a different extension to do that. Like now, would they be able to do that on elementary? 100%. And it just makes it it's an engagement piece. And it's also an accessibility piece because you have so many kids that might not be able to sit down and write paragraphs, but do understand the basics of coding and can put together their story with code or on a different platform using their voice, using AI generated images, which I would only use Adobe Express with K-12 for copyright and ethical responsible reasons. Um, but yeah, I think there's so many tools available to us today that increase accessibility for our students, which is really the key for allowing them to show their learning in the classroom and really have that visible learning in the classroom. It has to be accessible to everybody.
Are you guys using AI in your classroom? I'm just curious.
I only use Adobe
Adobe
Express.
Express. Yeah, that's how I would use it too, personally.
Yes,
And
Yeah,
then
I
that
I
100%.
use Canva.
mm-hmm. It would just
So
be
I
I've
actually
image.
taught
won't.
I've taught with Teachable Machine.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So, I mean, I've done that with, well, mostly with adults, but kind of get them to understand what AI actually is. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm not letting, or I rather, I don't intend to let kids use the tools themselves in my classroom, but to model the use myself and then to use it where I need it as my assistant. While also giving them, like, I really want to go through the Day of AI curriculum with them and teach them, starting the concepts of AI rather than just having them dive into it. And I'm hoping to somehow involve the parents too.
So I start with AI lessons in second grade. And like Nicole, I am incredibly cautious about what I put in front of students for student use, right? I use all the things. I play with all the things. I try to break all the things. It's my goal in life. And and what I found is that that's the reason I only use Adobe. So for example, I'm also a Canvassador, so full disclosure, love Canva, use it on the daily. I don't put it in front of my kids. I'll only Adobe because I've tried everything with image generation. And if I put Shake It Off into Canva AI image generation, I get a portrait that looks remarkably like Taylor Swift. If I put Shake It Off into Adobe Express, I get something shaking, or I get like a crazy abstract paint splatter that looks like shaking. But it really, really follows all those copyright ethical use kind of guidelines that you would want to model for students. And it starts great discussions about why did it do this? Why wouldn't it do that? And really talking about intellectual property and ownership, even in second grade.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just led to, and again, like not knocking Canva because I literally have it open on my computer right now. Love it, live for it, represent them, doing a PD for teachers on it in like 2 weeks. But I'm very, very particular about what I put in front of students. And it's why I won't utilize things like school AI yet, because if I go in and I get the wrong information, I have a ton of background knowledge. I know that information's wrong. My second grader's not going to
No.
know that. And they don't have the research skills yet, not yet, to really be able to look up every little piece of information that comes back to them. And so while I think that the tool is tremendously promising, and I do believe it will be transformational soon, I feel like not yet. Not yet. Maybe for high school where they have a lot more background knowledge, where they've been more explicitly taught research skills to double check all of that. But definitely not for younger learners. I'm very, very hesitant about what I put in front of students. And I rep all these companies. I really do, because for teachers, I think it's life-changing, but really cautious with students.
Yeah. I mean, I looked a little bit about Magic School because I'm like, what is the difference really between Magic School and just like using ChatGPT?
It's an
Or
easy button. It's
it's
an
just
easy
it's
button.
just a wrapper. And when I put in the lesson plan, I'm like, man, I don't know. I don't like
It's
it.
not a bad way to start to dip your toe in
Yes.
if you don't know how to use one of the big LLMs yet. But it's an easy button, and hopefully people will graduate up to learning how to better utilize the large language models in
Because
general.
I was actually having a conversation with Dave. I was like, why aren't schools like just running their own LLM then? Because it's not difficult
Much
now.
work. Much work.
It's too much work. It's so much better for privacy.
Yes. Yes.
I got to finish hearing what she was saying. Jackie, keep talking. I got to finish
Yeah,
hearing
Amy,
that.
I was just saying, I wish I could put my hands on it, but there is an anchor chart out there that I could probably find it. But basically, it's saying AI is okay to use in my class if you use it this way. And so, like to check that, put in something you've written and check to see if its grammar is right. To do, and so you lay it out and say, hey, I know you're going to use it, and I'm telling you it is okay if you use it in these ways. And I'll see if I can dig that up. Hopefully I have it saved in my drive somewhere.
I would
But
love
that,
that.
that might be a good way of getting started, and be honest and say, hey, you know what, we're getting started with this. We
Yeah.
are going to embrace AI. And I want to tell you, I'm struggling with this because I know some of you use it in ways that we don't want you to. I think you just be really honest with them. It's seventh grade.
Okay.
Some of them are young and some of them are old, right? It's like bless your heart, because that's the most awkward age in the universe.
I
But
love it so much.
most
But I
of them
think I'm
get it.
gonna, yeah, I think I'm gonna reframe. I think I'm gonna try and capture what I said out loud for where I want my kids to be, and try and use that as my go-to quote. You got to be able to have a conversation. And thanks to Ben, wherever you are in here, because I'm using that as my inspiration for my year quote.
Wait, now I want to know what Ben said. What did Ben
I would also
say?
like to know what I said.
Okay, so here's Ben, here's what you said. And I actually took a screenshot of it. So I'll find it, but to recap, it was you have to understand the content, because when you go out into the real world, it's your understanding of the content that's going to make a difference, not using AI to create that content for you. It was something along that line, but it was really beautiful and a lot of people hearted it. So I took that as, I don't use AI in my classroom. Admittedly, I am one of those older teachers who just said, No, I'm going to focus on content, and I've done my stint on the circuit of the presentation of tech stuff, and I'm an old dog. I'm not going to learn these new tricks. And now I find I would be doing my kids a disservice to not learn it and not know it. So, okay, seasoned or more experienced. But now I find myself at this spot where I can't just learn AI anymore. I need to make a jump to why, not just how, but I need to jump to why am I doing this in my classroom? And so I took your quote that you said, Ben, and I think what I'm going to start the year with my kids is we need to use this, but you need to understand content. And here's why. As an exhibition school, a design thinking, project-based learning exhibition school, we have people coming in from the public in person. And you as students have to talk about your projects. You can't just hold up a report that AI wrote for you. You can't just present a slide deck. You can't just play a song. You can't just have these things, these products, right? You can't just, I don't want you using AI to just turn in stuff. I want you to be able to feel confident when these people come in and you talk about this essential question that you dealt with and you struggled with and you came up with a response to. And if you want to use AI to help you in that, great, but you need to have a conversation with these people in person. So I want AI to help you feel more confident in your knowledge, but not just turn in an assignment that checks off the box. So that's where I'm at. And Ben, thank you for the inspiration. And Jackie, thank you for the support on that.
Well, you guys are all great. I don't even have to be here. I just put you guys into rooms. Boom. And I realized I had a slide that had the questions and I didn't even show it.
I broadcast them in the breakout rooms, and then I put them in the chat here as well. So hopefully everybody saw those questions.
Okay. So, is there any other highlights from other people's breakout rooms? Anything you want to share? Okay, well, feel free to put it in the chat if there's anything. And before we dig into what do I have scheduled, I think I said in my newly revised schedule again that we are going to do a bit of coding to break up all of this because technically we're supposed to be coding, you know, this is a creative coding professional development. So we're going to do a little bit of coding and then we're going to code some more, take a break, code a bit more. And then I'm really excited to talk about prompting and prompt engineering and all the stuff that's behind the scenes of AI. And if you're like, I don't even know what AI is, we'll also cover a little bit about that. And I'm sure we have tons of wonderful resources here that will be able to help. Jackie wants to know when I'm doing the prompting section. Well, if I am able to do everything kind of on track, it's supposed to be scheduled at 3:30. So come back at 3:30 if you want to come for the prompting. So let's recap. So you guys, if you have attended day 1 and day 2, you've covered these. I'm not sharing my screen. You're covering these lovely CSTA standards. So you have created sequences, events, loops, and conditionals. You have decomposed a problem into smaller manageable subproblems to facilitate the programming development process. You have tested, debugged, and a program or algorithm to ensure it runs as intended. And you've also dealt with all the stuff with variables and different data types that perform operations on their values. Congratulations, everyone. Woo! You are almost on your way to becoming a computer science teacher. You're like, but I teach English. All good. Now you can put these standards into your handy dandy notebook and be like, yeah. So pretty much, for for the CSTA standards, the first three are involved in every single elementary project. So as long as your students are creating a project into elementary, they're publishing it because they have to debug and make sure it works. They're going through all of these steps. So in terms of standards, that's the lingo. Okay, let's go ahead and think now. Okay, so supposedly you learned this stuff. Now, tell me, what are events? What are events? If you were to explain it to a 5-year-old, what is an event in computer programming? I love it. When stuff happens. When stuff happens. Okay, so events tell the computer when to start an action. So those are all the lovely events we dealt with. We have on page start, on pronounce, one of my favorite events, on click, on drag over. Okay, now, quick quiz number 2. What are objects? What are objects? I love it. You guys are like on fire. Okay. See, next week you could be teaching this to everybody. It's going to be great. All the things on the page, the text, images, buttons, all of it. Now, the hard one. What are functions? What are functions? Oh, we're all so happy. What? You guys all get an A, and it's not an A for effort. It's an actual A. Functions tell the computer what action to do. So they're the commands that we tell the computer. And it's basically telling what to do with it. So what can you do? You can play music, you can move, you can play text effect, you can play a recorded sound. Now let's up the game a bit, okay? Let's think. What is a sequence? And what is sequencing when we talk about code? What is a sequence? Explain it to me like I'm 5. Okay, so it is the steps, the order. Step 1, step 2, step 3. So we can chain our functions one after the other. So we can do more complicated stuff. So we can make our witch fly back and forth. We can, I don't know, make something fade in and then ring a bell. It's really up to you. Okay, so this is a challenge. I already gave you a clue with the arrows, but what are parallel functions then? And if you're brand new and you're like, I don't know any of this, I just joined, I don't know, I wasn't here because of XYZ, I'm lost, don't worry. What we're gonna do is when we go and start doing the coding challenges, you can stay with me and we'll go through the basic stuff. So parallel functions are when two functions happen at one time. So it's like when I play step 2, when I have a voiceover playing and the text animation for the speech bubble playing at the same time. So multiple actions happening at the same time. Okay, so loops, loop de loop. Anybody have kids? There's like the PBS show Lila and the Loop. It's great. So loops repeat the set of functions. Okay, and a challenge one before we get to the coding challenges. What are variables? What are variables? I love all these answers. Can you give me an example of a variable? Okay, so variables are our boxes. They're the containers that hold the information, and you can change what's inside. So this one is a text variable called name. I can change the name that goes inside. I can make my variable name equal Paige or Nicole or Ben or Lauren. Okay, so we have a couple of coding challenges, and let's try going into breakout rooms really quick, and you guys can see if you can actually, I don't know what would be the best way. Or maybe we could do it all here together. What would be the best way of doing it? Should we do breakout rooms or not? We have a couple different ones you can choose from. Let's stay here. We can stay here.
Yeah, I'm thinking breakout rooms might be easier.
Stay here, breakout rooms. Oh yes, Paige. When we do breakout rooms, they can't come back to the main room. So we should always move to a room. Otherwise, they can't return.
I have it set that allow participants to return at any time.
Oh, well, I can't return from when I enter a room.
When you click on the bottom right where it says leave,
Yeah.
you should be able to.
Oh, you have to
I have it
leave the
set.
room maybe instead
Right,
of.
you have to, there's two options, leave the Zoom or leave the
Ah,
room. So you have to click
I think
leave
that's
the room.
confusing. I wouldn't have known that at all.
And that's why I'm here to assist.
Okay, so
All right. We
that's
can, well, we have rooms set up already, but I think I should make some smaller rooms. We have some rooms that are really large. So I'm gonna move some people into other rooms so that we have
okay.
smaller groups. In the meantime, if you want to take a screenshot of
So yeah, this is the first,
the
or
questions.
how do we do? So this is the first coding challenge. Um, so some people want to do it together. How about you can I rename a room to be like, I'll rename a room to be like main room, and I'll be in main room where you can do it with me. Okay? How about that? And if you want to do it by
I'm going
yourself,
to add a room and rename it to main room.
yeah, I already did that just now.
Oh, it's not. Oh, because I'm already moving people. It's not showing.
Okay, so
We're both in it at the same time.
okay. Zoom is not that great, I must say. Come on, Zoom.
All
So
right,
for
I have
those
8 rooms. How much time do you want, Nicole?
let's just go through it see if we could do number 1 and number 2, see how far you go. If you can get to number 2, that's great. And let's do it for maybe 5, 10 minutes, something like that. 7 minutes.
I put it in for 10 minutes.
10 minutes, that's great.
It'll give you a warning at 1 minute and then bring you back. And I have groups of 2s and 3s. If anybody was not in a group and would like to be in a group, let me know. Otherwise,
You
you're
can
going to
always
be
join the main room, which is where I'll be in, and I'll go through the coding challenge and you can help me if you don't feel confident. Okay?
right. So, opening
But
the room.
I'll
If
go
you're
through it
not
again when everyone comes back together. So don't worry if you're not getting it in your room either. So I'll show you the code at the end.
right, and if you're not assigned to a room, I'll assign you to one if you would like to join a room. So I'm opening the rooms now. So if you're not in a room but would like to be in a room, just let me know.
I don't know where I am. Can you send me?
Yes, I will move you. I have to find where you are.
Or no,
Let's see. Okay, I moved you,
thank
or
you.
one of you.
Um, it's okay. I think I found the one I want. I am. Hello, 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 and welcome. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and you can actually help me code the challenge puzzle. Okay, so we'll walk through it and grab the right screen. And I'm going to actually go ahead and create a blank project. So we have extra space. And so I don't even remember what I'm supposed to do. The first thing I have to do is have a voiceover recording play at the same time as a text animation. Okay, so I'm going to record a voiceover. So how do I record a voiceover? I need to click on this plus this microphone button. I click on it. I click on the click here. Hello, everyone. I stop it. I can trim it. Save. And I'll name my voiceover. Hello, everyone. Okay, so you see my face a little bit. Okay, so I have a recording. What event block do I want? So if I want it to play, let's say on page start, when the page starts, I want it to play, and I want it to play my voiceover and, well, what did I say? And a text box like hello, everyone, like that. Let's go ahead and get a character so it feels a bit more immersive. What's your favorite animal? Anybody have a favorite animal?
Parrot.
A parrot. Okay, let's see if we can find a parrot. And just unmute yourself because I can't read. Ah, we have a parrot. I like this one. He's a cute parrot. So I want hello everyone with a nice, which animation do you want? Do you want to play text effect or you want to just fade it in? It doesn't matter. Let's just do fade in. Easier. Okay, so I'm going to have my on page start. I'm going to fade in my speech bubble. And at the same time, I want to play my recorded sound. So where do I go for that? I need to go to the sound tab. And then it's the very first block, play recorded sound. Okay, so now let's think. How do I connect my blocks together in order to play my sound and do the animation at the same time?
You connect the white triangle on page start to both.
Let's try it out.
That,
Or you choose one, and then we can test it out. Let's go here. Play record sound. So let's go ahead and grab my sound. Press confirm. It says hello everyone. Okay, everything should be good. I'm going to click on the preview button. Hello everyone. Well, I hear a sound. So that means my sound is working. Okay, we're halfway there. We're halfway there. Good job, everyone. Okay, play record sound. Now I have this fade. Now what? What do I need? What am I missing?
oh, an object.
Okay, we're
What
missing
is
an
that?
object.
Yes.
Which one?
And you're missing, you want the text to fade, so you want the bubble 0. Hello, everyone.
Okay, the bubble 0. Very good. Let's try. And now what do I do?
And so you connect purple to purple.
Purple to purple. Whoop. And then, is that it?
And then somehow your 2 greens should connect, maybe?
My 2 green
On
should
page,
connect. Hmm.
I don't know.
Someone want to
Just
jump in and
guessing.
help out? Who has an idea? There's a lot of people in this room. Someone unmute yourself.
You gotta go back to the side and add, um,
We could connect on page start to fade.
To the other green one.
Okay, the other green one on page start. This green one, this one. Where does this go?
To the other green, the bottom one.
Green, this one?
Yep.
But what if I want to put it here? What happens?
Not gonna connect. It's not gonna snap.
It does snap
Oh, it
though.
does.
Hmm.
That's what
It
I
plays the music
thought.
and then
Green.
the text box fades in.
All right, let's try. I feel like everyone is now here. There was like no point in the breakout room. So is my code doing what I want it to do? I want it to do 2 things at the same time.
No.
No, so this is a sequence.
At start to go. Yep.
Yep. Okay, so let's take a look. Hello, everyone. Okay, there's a bit of delay, but that's okay. It's kind of doing what I want it to do. So, okay, so now we just have this wonderful, wonderful little speech bubble fading in with my voice. Let's do the second part of the challenge. Now let's add another character. Anybody have a favorite animal? Maybe type it in the chat. We start having a lot of people in here. There was no point in the breakout room. No point. Okay. Do we have an animal? Put it in the chat. A sloth. I don't even know if we have a sloth. I hope we do. Do we have a sloth? I don't recall adding a sloth. Okay, we don't have a sloth. Moving on. What's another animal? I heard a zebra. I know we have an axolot. We have really cute axolots on here. But let's go ahead and grab a zebra since I already typed it in. And he's a funny looking zebra. And let's go ahead and give him a speech bubble too. So he says something too in response. And what's he going to say? He's going to say, ... How do you do? Okay, so I need to record myself again. How do you do? I'm going to trim it. Oh, that was awkward. Save. I'm going to also make it a little lower toned because I can. How do you do? Oh, that's kind of scary. And I think we're all going to be back in the main room. How do you do? Save. We have it done. So now I'm going to get my blocks. So I need to play a recorded sound and I need to, let's go ahead and play a text effect this time to be fancy. And I think I need a speech bubble. So your job is to, how do I connect things together? Think about that, and we're going to transition to the main room and see how many people actually stayed in their breakouts or if everyone just ended up joining me.
always get me right at the sentence.
All right, welcome back, everyone. The breakout rooms should all now be closed, and Nicole should be rejoining us in a moment.
Oh, every time I come
Nicole,
back.
yes, share your screen when you're ready.
Yep. Okay, so how many people were able to get to this stage where you have on-page start and you're able to play a recorded sound and some sort of text animation? So two functions in parallel. How many people were able to get that? Anybody? I had like 50 million people in my chat in my room. I was like, is there a point? Okay, great. So in my room, we actually didn't get to the second challenge. So maybe you can help me out with the second challenge. So I have now a lot of blocks on my page, and this is when it gets a little bit more confusing. So let's first deal with the play record sound. I like to always deal with my recorded sounds first before I deal with my animations. Just personal preference, but I'm going to go ahead and grab this white triangle. And now you see there are a lot of white triangles that I can connect it to. So let's vote in the chat. 1 for on-page start, 2, you connect it to the play record sound, or 3 on the fade. Let's vote 1, 2, or 3. 1, 2, 2, 3. I see a 2. 2. All right, let's try 2. Okay, and always remember to select the sound because the computer doesn't know what sound to play. So in my case, it's how do you do? And I adjusted the pitch so it sounds really creepy. But that's how. So let's go ahead and preview. Hello, everyone. How do you do? Oh, I don't think it saves the modulated voice. Interesting. I'm going to go ahead and put that as a note. But at least we're kind of getting there. We're almost there. So we have one last step, and that is we need to connect our animation. So how do we go ahead and connect our animation?
Purple to purple.
Okay, so purple to purple. Oh, that's good. But I could connect it to this purple. Is it this one or this one? Which one, the fade or the playtext effect?
Playtext.
Okay, and then this is just hanging out all lonely. It needs to find a home, a friend. Where does it go? There's a lot of choices now. Let's vote in chat. 1, on page start. 2, play record sound. 3, fade. Which one? 1, 2, or 4, play record sound. There's 4 choices actually. Okay, so I have people saying do it at the play record sound. I have people saying do it at the fade. Well, we could just try it out. Let's put it in the fade. Hello, everyone. How do you do? It's syncing up a little strange. Not gonna lie, it's gonna sync up a little strange. So I don't think it's here. And what's the reasoning? Well, let's follow our arrows from on page start. So on page start, we follow our arrows. It branches out to 2 places. So right now it's saying, okay, I do these 2 things at the same time. I'm going to play the record sound. I'm going to fade. Then after I'm done fading in my text, then I'm going to play the text effect. So it's a bit too soon. So I don't think it's here. Where can I put it now? Let's try another spot. On page start 1, play record sound 2, or this play record sound 2, or this play record sound 3. There's 2 of them. So 2 or 3. 1, 2, 3. So let's try 2. Record sound 3. Let's try 3. If I preview. Hello, everyone. How do you do? Not quite. It's because now what we're doing is we're doing this in a sequence. So we follow the arrows. This is now step 1. This is now step 2. And this is now step 3. All right. So a process of elimination. Let's try number 2. If I preview. Hello, everyone. How do you do? There we go. We completed our voiceover challenge. Woo! Okay, so I have another challenge for you guys. So this is for voiceover. The second challenge is animations. Now this one is a hard one. Maybe I think the second one is easier. Can you animate a basketball to go to a hoop when you click on it? I don't think we have hoops. Maybe we do, but use a circle if there's no hoop. So can you animate a basketball to move to a hoop when you click on it? And can you animate a falling snow animation? So like a snowflake falling and then it goes back up and it falls again, like so, over and over again. So number 2 is actually easier than number 1, since number 1 does include loops. But do we want to try the same thing again? Or does everyone want to stick with me? We could all stay?
Either we could go to breakout rooms or we can all stay in the main room. So
Okay,
if
we
you'd
could all
like to go to
stay.
breakout
I
room,
mean,
let us know.
all up to you. I mean, I'll be talking anyway, so it's more like if you guys want to talk with each other, you'll have that chance. I gave you the chance, okay? You can't say I didn't give you the chance. Okay, so I'm gonna go and get my elementary project. Where is it? And did I just close it? I have so many tabs open and none of them are the right one.
Nicole,
Yes.
all of these things that you're showing us how to do, are they as individual lessons in elementary?
So there are some that cover this concept. So for example, the snowing one, that one is actually a lesson. I believe it's the winter, there's a winter holiday card. This one, Let It Snow holiday card.
Okay.
This one has the looping animation.
Okay. Are they linked like that choice board was? Because that's brilliant.
Okay, I will try my best to do that. Okay, I'm going to note that down and I'm going to
I
try
mean,
my
it's
best to
just
do
so
that.
cool to have like, here are
Different
all the different
options.
skills that you
Mhm.
can learn to, to do. Like if you need animation, this shows you how to animate something. If you need voiceover, this is the one that shows you how to voiceover. I just loved when you handed us that choice board at first. I was like, got this. Now I can listen to Nicole. I can watch her. But if there's something I don't understand, I can go practice that lesson later tonight and really, you know what I mean? It was just such a great resource.
I will make a voiceover choice board and advanced animation choice board later.
Woohoo! I'm doing a fist bump. I know my camera's off, but I'm doing a fist bump. Woohoo!
Yeah, so I will go ahead and do that. But like what we're doing now, we're just thinking through it. Like how would we think through it if we were to just be like, oh, I think this is cool. Let's try to deconstruct and experiment and try things out. So let's go ahead and we're not going to do this step by step because I really want you to put on your little thinking brains and struggle a little bit. Okay, you guys are going to struggle and that's good. That's good. So the lessons are there. The choice board will be there, but right now just struggle a little bit with me. And okay, so I'm going to make a brand new page and this one we're going to, what did I say? Move a basketball to a hoop. So this is a very common one that kids will want. It's like, I want to make my basketball go into the hoop because I like basketball, or I want to put my soccer ball in a hoop because I like soccer. We need more balls. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put more balls. Basketball. So we have one basketball at the very least right now. Hoop. Do we have something? No, that's what I thought. That's fine. We're going to simulate a basket. We're going to get a basket. We have lots of baskets. It's perfect. It's a pretty good basket. Okay, great. So we have a basket. We have our ball here. And now when I click on this ball, I want it to go into my basket. That's what I want to happen. Okay? And like I said, all of this, when you start being more creative, it's not, oh, you're wrong, you failed. It just doesn't work as intended. So you just have to figure it out. Because it could be that you want this basketball to fly off the page and then fly back on the page. That could be an intended design choice, but you would have to back that up. So right now, I want to use which event? I want to use the click event because I want to click on this basketball. So I go to my events tab, and there's all of my orange event blocks. Okay, that's good. That's easy. Let's now figure out what function do we need now. I'm not going to open up anything, and I want you to tell me what function might be good for this problem. What function might be good for this problem? So we have a lot of different functions. We have transform, which are all of our animation ones. So it's probably here. Sounds, it's probably not going to be here. Controls deal with user navigation and weights and making things draggable. So that's probably not what it is. So go look in your transform tab and try to see which block you want. So this is a very interesting problem because you can actually use both move and move to point. Just one of them will be easier than the other. So, okay, so I see move to point. So move, yep.
I was gonna say, and I'm back at that same thing, that move to point, or set, move or set to point. I can't remember what it was yesterday when we were.
Set position.
Yeah, set position.
Set position is the absolute position. So set position is just teleporting this item to be in that position.
In that position. Okay.
Yep.
And move to point.
Move and move to point are both animations.
Okay.
So the difference, we'll go through the difference. So let's try move and let's try move to point. Actually, we'll have both. So move to point, if you click on the little help thing, it opens it up. It is an animation function block that smoothly moves objects to a specific XY coordinate on the page using a pixel coordinate system. This is important. It's a pixel coordinate system, not Cartesian, so it's not math. It's programming pixel coordinate system. And if you want to see what pixel coordinate system is, it's basically this. Let me make this bigger. 0, 0 is this corner. 120, 0 is the upper right-hand corner. 120, 574 is the lower right-hand corner. And X is 0 is on the left-hand side, with Y being 574 on the very bottom left-hand corner. So it's a different coordinate system. So unfortunately, we do not have a move along path function. I wish we did, but we don't. So maybe later, maybe later. Okay, so let's look at move to point. So now we kind of understand this page is full of pixels, and when I drag my mouse around the page, you'll see that there is a black box with X is something and Y is something else. This is the current, where my mouse is, the current XY coordinate on this page. So if I want my ball to go to the basket, I would just have to, move him to where I want it to be placed at the end. In this case, maybe 866 and Y is 154. So 866, 154. Can you remember that? 866 for my X, and Y is, I already forgot.
154.
154. Thank you. I'm even worse than the kids we teach. 154. Memory goldfish. Okay, so I have on click. I have my move to point, and what do I need? I need an object.
The basketball.
Basketball. Okay, so this is now easy. This is simple. We got 3 blocks. Not too bad. White triangle goes to the white triangle. Purple circle goes to the purple circle. And let's preview that and see what happens if I click on my, wait, what happened? Purple circle goes to, oh. So I'm going to preview that. Uh-oh. Nothing's happening. Why is nothing happening? Uh-oh. 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 What am I missing? Let's preview again. I go to my inspect mode. I'm clicking. Nothing's happening. No code is lighting up. Yeah, I'm missing one connection.
The starting point of the basketball.
Yep, I need to click the basketball. I need to tell the computer that I'm clicking on the basketball before I move it. So I need to click on it in order to move. So now let's preview. And boom, it zooms there. So if I want him to, if I want my basketball to zoom a little bit slower, I can change the duration. So that's how many seconds the animation will play. So if I say 3 seconds, I can also play around with the easing. So these are just like fancy computer science coding stuff or animation stuff. Technically, you use this in animation whenever you do like video animation for transitions and stuff also. But let's go ahead and do something funky, like in, out, elastic, and see what happens because we can. Okay, so the question I have in the chat is, what if we want this basketball to not like zoom here, but to do more an arc? So we don't have a way to do a curve right now. Maybe I can ask David if it's possible. But what we could do is we can do multiple movements. So it's like we can make it go like this to this area. So it could go up first, off the page, and then down. I think that would look better than having it zoom across the page, right? It's a little bit more realistic. Let's try doing that, actually. We can make it go off the page. So if we go off the page, it's what? 400, 450, and negative 90. 450, negative 90. So I can go ahead and copy and paste. And since I don't want to redo these numbers, I'm just going to delete this connection and move this extra function in so I can do a function in sequence. So step 1, I'm going to move it off the page. And then step 2, I'm going to move it into the basketball. Okay. So am I done?
No, you have to put your X and Y coordinates in.
Yep, and of course I already forgot what they were. Let's just do like 600 and negative 90. Yeah, 600, 600, negative 600, negative 90. Okay. And let's make it also like 2 seconds. If I preview, okay, I'm clicking on it, but nothing's happening. Why is that?
I don't think you connected the object.
Ah, I didn't connect the object. Okay, so this is missing an object port. Let's go ahead and click preview. Oh, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I like it. I like it. I like it. Okay, so we actually did the animation coding challenge for that one, and let's just take a look to see what else we have. I think it was I was like, how are we on time? I'm like, it's already break time. That's what it is. So we're gonna end with this challenge. And we'll leave our other challenges for later. Maybe not today, maybe we'll leave some for tomorrow, but it's just other things that we can do. And these are all like optional extensions to get our coding brains thinking about how we can deconstruct the problem. Your students probably won't need to do this, but I think it's just kind of nice to play around with. So I will let you guys go on a break. I'm going to go take a break as well, and I'll see you back again in 10 minutes. So enjoy yourselves. Hello, hello. Did you have a snack? I had a snack. It was marvelous. My mother-in-law is the best ever. So not only is she taking care of my kids, she also brought crepes when she brought them back. Yeah, so delicious. I didn't know salty crepes existed until I came to France. I felt like I was missing out a lot. Like, did you ever have a salty crepe before? I didn't. I didn't even know they existed.
Chicken with mushrooms. Very good.
Yeah, I was like, I always thought they were sweet. And I'm like, whoa, okay. But yeah, you go to a crepe restaurant and then you just have like a salty crepe with cider, and then afterwards you have a sweet crepe for dessert, and it's delicious. Anyway, are we all coming back slowly? I think so. Maybe, potentially. Who knows? Sometimes when I'm doing this, I just feel like I'm talking into the void. I'm just like la di da di da. Yeah, thankfully I have your face. It'll be like, but it reminds me of when I was doing the storytelling club, like with kids during COVID. I had a whole bunch of people in my session, and all of them had their cameras off because like they didn't know each other, right? So I was like, keep your cameras off and stuff. But sometimes I just be like, okay, I guess I'm just gonna, I'm gonna add a dog to my page because
There's a lot of conferences where it's all you can't see the participants, so
Mhm.
you have no idea if anybody's there listening to you or you're all alone.
Oh yeah, what was that one? I did because I think I did something with, was it CSTA when they were virtual and they used
Hmm.
that provider? I don't remember what they're
Yeah,
called.
it's a Cvent, but I think it's called something else now. Ring Central or something it's called.
Oh. And I remember
Um,
like you enter and you don't see anybody and you're just like,
no,
okay.
you
I
hope
guess I'll
you
just
hope that somebody's going to put a message in the chat, so you know. Here, Tracy says we're here, so just like the Who's. So yes, we're grateful when people put things in the chat, so we know that we're not just talking to ourselves and each other. All right, it's 3:02, so you're ready to go.
Okay.
Don't forget to share your screen, and the recording is still on.
Okay. So, where was I? So before we get started with all of our prompting stuff, I did want to cover apps, maps, and timelines. I'm going to kind of group.
Slides.
Oh, sorry. I don't actually think I updated my slides for this, so you're going to have to deal with just me. So we're going to deal with apps, maps, and timelines. And basically, with apps, maps, and timelines, they all have very, very, very similar mechanisms. There's going to be a go to page block. You're going to navigate the player or the reader from one page to another by clicking on elements, whether that is a button, whether that is, something that's on the map, or, whether that's a date, a text box. Those are all elements that can direct the reader to a certain place. In the case of timelines and maps in particular, you might want to use the on drag over. So I did have a timeline, and it's the one that, not the timeline, a map that Luana's class actually did, which was, she showcased at the very beginning on Monday. But that one is a bit long to go through in the very limited time that we have right now. But I'll just show you that map. I passed it, didn't I? Yeah, here it is. So landforms. So US landforms. And so for this one, you have your character. You can drag her around. And the mechanism is basically when you drag her onto a certain object, it will go to a certain page that will explain more about that topic. So in this case, you drag her to an icon that represents the Rocky Mountains, and then it will have text. So this is the very basic mechanism. We're going to actually, if you're going to be together with me, we're going to be going through the really, really, really quick app, which is which one is it? The one that's all about me. Three symbols of me. So this is a really good beginner project. And if you've done this one already, then you can think about how can you kind of adapt this into your own curriculum. So maybe instead of doing 3 symbols about me, you might be doing 3 symbols about, I don't know, some character in a novel study you're doing. Or maybe you're going to be doing 3, what else? What other things do we have? I'm blanking now. So it's 3 symbols about me, 3 symbols in some novel you're reading, 3 characterizations of like 3 character traits of a character, whatever it could be. And if you're doing like science, it could be even simply like for example, if you're doing like animal adaptations, it's gonna be like, okay, this is animal adaptation 1, 2, and 3. And when you click on the buttons, they go to the page where it explains more about it. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on the start button. I'm going to share this, sorry, in the chat so everyone has access to that. 3 symbols about me. And we'll just go through it really together. And feel free to really think about how can you create an app in your class, because really apps are just scenes or pages that direct the user like to other pages to get information or to fulfill a certain function. Okay, so technically they're not pages, they're like screens, but you get the point. So by framing it as an app, though, all of a sudden it becomes cool for kids. So that's why we use the word app, even though in reality it's a poster project. Like anything that you had a poster project for, or some sort of presentation, you can just kind of repackage it and turn it into an app. And same thing with if you're doing a timeline. Interactive timelines are really fun. I didn't get around to creating one, but it's kind of like the same idea. You would have your timeline, you would have maybe buttons or dates, and maybe when you click on it, it'll say something, or it will pop up with extra information, or simply it'll just go to another page in which all that information will be written out or spoken. So let's go through this all about me symbols and app. And after this quick project, we're going to go to my baby, which is my lovely prompt generator, blah, blah, blah business. Okay, so the first step is templates. Yes, there was a reason why I wanted to do this one in particular, is because we have templates on elementary, and templates are on the front side of the page. It's at the very bottom, right above uploads, right here. It's open. And templates are pre-coded, pre-designed pages, okay? So they really speed up the process of creation. So for example, maybe you want to um, have like this template, which is, oh, I can't add it right now because it's not my milestone, but let's go ahead and add some random page. So I can't add it. I go to templates, input. I can go ahead and grab this template, which is basically asking for the name. And then I can just modify the code in the back. So it's all pre-coded, and the only thing I would have to change really is the go to page button. The go to page, where is it? Go to page, go to page. Go to page. Yeah, here. If I click yes, then it would go to a page. So let's see what that looks like first of all of this. So you could choose yes or you could choose no. And if you choose no, they'll just restart. And it'll be like, so that's the idea behind templates. They're pre-coded. This one in particular is quite complex, but there's some other ones here that are a little bit simpler, or some here that are just ways that you can, get inspired about how to use certain functions. So we have the one that's on pronounce, and this one in particular will be asking for forest and ocean, and depending upon which choice you say, it will go to a page that you want to go to. And it just has some animation here. So templates are really fun if you just want to play around and see what the capabilities are. Of course, I really like to use the title and forward page templates when I create lessons, simply because it makes text a bit more like legible. So you don't have like pink on top of pink. And just makes it a little bit easier. So the first step is to add my template, and I need to write something in the text box. And if anyone is having any tech troubles, please send a message to us. So don't feel shy. Just go ahead and send a message, and we can make sure to get you sorted out. So I'm gonna write something like 3 symbols, and I spelled 3 symbols wrong. 3 symbols about me. Ba, Ikoko. Then I need to go ahead and add a button to navigate. So I want to change the color of my button to blue. And then press the next button. I already wrote something in the button. Start. Oh, maybe I didn't. Next. And hooray! Hopefully we designed our title or our start screen. Not our title page, start screen. Oh, since this page already exists, let me go ahead and delete this then. Delete all my code. I don't want all this here. Okay, cleaned it up. So I need to go ahead and add some symbols about me. Or if you're doing this about a character in a novel, it could be the symbols that represent the character. Or if you're doing, I don't know, something, study about a time period in history, you might put three symbols about that time period in history. You can kind of think of them as kind of like a one-pager, like all those things. So, well, I like what? I like cats. I have a cat, a lovely little munchkin. If you don't know what they are, they have short, tiny little legs. They're little sausage cats, except my cat is a snob and doesn't like to be pet, but this cat's cute. Okay, ideas for dreams and aspirations. Well, I like food, I guess. Go ahead and find a cookie. And quickly hurry up and go ahead and find, I don't know, memories, experiences. Yep. Crepes. I love crepes. Okay, so go ahead and find a background. One quick tip. If you type texture, you'll get like all of the wallpapery slides type of backgrounds. I like that. Okay, are we ready to code? Let's go ahead and see if we're ready to code. Good. You guys are probably getting bored. Okay, so I need to click on the forward page. It's this one. It pops up. Okay. And share why my first symbol is a piece of you. Well, I have a cute cat named Sheepy. Oh, I think I do all of I just do the user navigation at the very end on this one. So it's super easy. Yeah. So you can make if you use templates, then you can really speed up the project process and just really focus on the writing. And then you just add a little bit of the coding logic at the very end to say which page number you want to go to before you can spend more time with, I don't know, publishing, sharing, commenting, feedback, and doing all of that stuff within your classroom. So where's my second one was what, a cookie? I like to bake cookies. I'm just blazing through these instructions. I enjoy reading web novels. All right, so this is the time when kids are like, okay, teacher, I'm done. I click preview and nothing happens because we have to go back and at the very least, we have to code one button to work, which is the button we added. So grab our button. We need to grab our event. So in this case, it's on click. And then we need to go ahead and grab our function, go to page. So let's connect our blocks together in order to make them work. Okay, we got 3 blocks here. Purple circle goes to the purple circle. And then the white triangle goes to the white triangle here. So then the last step is we need to choose what page number to go to. So by the way, you might be wondering what origin is. If like you're like, okay, previous, that makes sense. It's the previous page. Next page, that makes sense. It's the next page. What does origin page mean? So origin means the page you just came from. And this is a very interesting interesting choice. Like this option is really nice when you're making escape room games because you might want to have like a the end you failed ending. And if that's the case, then you want to go back to where you just came from, right? Maybe you don't want to have like 50 million of the end you failed endings. You just want to have one. So you could just use origin to go back to your previous page that you just came from. I don't know if I'm very clear about that. We'll have to do an example when we go tomorrow and talk about escape rooms some more. So let's go ahead and go to the next page, and then I'm going to hit next. Select the typewriter effect. I like pop. And we need to now code the user navigation. So now it's just really simple. We need to make sure that our buttons here or our images here, when we click on them, go to the pages we want to go to. So our first image, which is the cat, when we click, and we do go to page. So like even though Tuesday we covered a lot of advanced coding topics like variables and conditionals and booleans and all those things, most of the time kids are just going to be using blocks like go to page, play a recorded voiceover, move, bounce, like different animation functions. And that already, if that can get kids excited about writing or sharing what they've written, then that's already a win for us. We don't really expect all kids to go into variables and all that stuff, even if they are in middle school or even high school level, for that matter. So it's always there if they want to go. And that's why it's really important that you showcase that a little bit, because we're all about, like we said, like low floor, high ceiling, so that all kids can find joy in creating. Because for some kids, they'll be like, this is so boring. It's so easy. So then they can spend their time decorating or adding whatever they want. So, all right, page 3. So the cat, object, connect, and then, yep, we go to page 3. And for this one, the cookie, what page does it go to? And so you can always copy and paste using the copy button at the top here. You can click on that with the paste icon, or you can also use Control C, Control V, whichever one makes you most happy. So the cookie, okay, when we click on the cookie, we'll go to page 4. And then finally, when we have our little bookworm, let's copy, paste, copy, Control C, Control V, paste. And this one goes to page what? 5. Okay, so it says you can choose origin or page 2. So let's just try origin. So we go back to the page we just came from. And similarly for page 4, we do the same thing. We go to origin. And for this one, same thing. Or we can choose page 2 if we want to hard code it. That's fine. One thing that will happen is that students will go in to into their project, and then they'll like add a page in the middle. So that means that if there are any go-to pages, well, they might need to recheck those because they might not be going to the page that it's supposed to go to. So that will be a fun moment of frustration when they realize that maybe they would have to go and check all of those blocks and debug and test. So now we can lock the navigation because this project is not working. So let's take a look. So it's 3 symbols about me. I click. Okay, it's working. I click on my cat. I have a cute cat named Sheepy. I like to bake cookies. I enjoy reading web novels. The problem is, though, right now, I can swipe left and right to navigate or use my arrow keys to navigate. So that may not be what I want. So if I want it so that you cannot navigate using the swipe or with the keyboard keys, I have to lock the navigation. In order to lock the navigation, we need to do that on the page start. So on the page start, we need to, oh, I'm on the wrong page. So where am I? Here. On page start, I want to lock the navigation. So navigation, all the stuff about telling the user or the player where to go, whether that's to another page, whether it's to not go to a page, whether it's to go to an external link, that is all in controls. This little, what is it, wheel? Steering wheel? What is it if it's a ship? I feel like it's not called a wheel.
It's a ship's wheel.
It's a ship's wheel? Okay. I thought it would have a fancier name, you know? Anyway, on page start, and I need to grab the other one. So you just go ahead, grab both, and then you just connect both. And this little piece of code is just saying you're stuck on this page and you can't go anywhere unless you click on any of these 3 things, and then it will send you off to whatever page you're supposed to go to. So now if I preview, can I swipe left and right? No. So I have to click on the image. Then add a fun background because we can. And then we can go ahead and click on publish to publish. Or you can say, oh, no, it's ugly, it's ugly. And plus these pages, they're not locked yet either. I want to finish that. So you can go ahead and finish that and add some extra images or backgrounds, or just make it yours. And that's a really easy, like getting to know you kind of activity that you can do with your students that introduces the concept of user navigation. And it can build into something that's a little bit more complex. So whether that's like a choose your own adventure or an escape room game, or just in general, making them more familiar with this idea of being able to go to different pages and mapping that out for if they want to present their science report in this manner, like hypothesis is this, like this is my problem, this is my hypothesis, this is my, you know, whatever, research steps, etc. My conclusion page. You can end up doing that with buttons and user navigation. And that's our fun little example. So any questions at this time? And oh, helm. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of, the helm. Is it the helm? Yeah, it's the helm. I knew there was a specific word for it. Thank you, Lauren. I was like, there's got to be something. So how are you planning to maybe have your students create an app? Do you think that's something that you would want to do? Put it in the chat. You have any ideas coming to your mind? Or would you not like to have an app as a project? Even easier. Yes, no, maybe so. Okay, so uh yes, still finishing. Great. This is great and easy for students to approach. Yep, yep. It's meant to be easy. If it's too hard, it's not really the thing. So the key is ease of use, making it accessible. So. And of course, if some student wants to do some full blown out, I don't know, Boolean variables, hidden boxes everywhere, drawing their own pictures and uploading it, they're all for that. They can do that. Yeah, so you can adapt this lesson as an about me to start. So let's go ahead and start with my next set of slides. I'm so excited. Okay, so very first step is what I found this thing called I am AI neural numbers. And I thought this was a great way to introduce what is kind of AI. Because I think that when we talk about AI, let's go ahead and put my face back so you can see me. Hi. So when we talk about AI, we kind of think of it as a black box. And we kind of think of it as like this mysterious black box. I prompt it and it gives me something, and it's great. But we don't really know why that's the case. So here is actually a really great website that I don't even know how I found it. I was talking to David about it, and we were talking about neural numbers because this has been around for a long time, like handwriting recognition, especially relating to numbers. Nothing too fancy with pictures, but just with numbers. Write a number between 0 and 9, and you can do so right here. And you'll see that on the right-hand side, now it says 0, but for a while there was a bit of probability of other things. Quick draw is a great thing, but the one thing that I really, really, really like about this site in particular is because we can see the probabilities. And I think that's really important for people to understand, is that the AI cannot be 100% sure, and we can actually see the probability. So let's go ahead and we'll see, oh, when I draw, you'll see on the right-hand side, the bar charts, this is the probability. This is the probability. And now when I do 0, this is not a very good recognizer. And the reason why it doesn't understand is because this one was trained with 300 pictures. So this also brings in to a little bit of perspective of how much data is needed. And this is a very simple example. It's just between 0 and 9. It's not looking for a ball. It's not looking for a house. It's just a number. You ask any kid out there, be like, what number is this? Or that's not a good number, but what number is this? And they're most likely going to say that's a 9. And you're going to be like, why is it a 9? And they're like, well, it's a 9. Are you dumb? Like, it's there. The thing is, the computer, though, is kind of stupid, and it can't actually determine that until it has enough data. And even with, like in this case, 1,500 pictures that it's being trained on, let's make the number number 3. So I want to put this link in the chat if you guys want to play with it. If you want to play with it, I'm going to put the number 3. You'll see even here, the number 5 still has a pretty high probability. And so this is a fully trained network using 70,000 pictures. So now it's pretty clear that it's a 3, even though I haven't even formed it. But the AI is not 100% certain. There's no such thing as 100% certainty. It will always be like 99.9999999 or whatever, but it won't actually be 100%. So we always have to keep that in mind when we're dealing with AI. And as you can see, we have to keep in mind what type of data is being put at what that is being trained on. So this is really, really great. And another really fun thing is I looked underneath. They actually have a graphic novel that talks a little bit about AI, and I thought it was kind of interesting. I haven't finished it. I read through half of it, but it's pretty good. So I put those links there. Okay, so when we talk about prompting though, if you ever been on like those social media, I know for sure, like blew up, they'll be like, these are like the 10 like ways that you're missing out on using AI. You have to give it a role. You have to do this. You have to do that. And I actually spent, so I use ChatGPT quite frequently, from everything from organizing my thoughts to figuring out how to condense information into something that's more coherent and tight and concise. But like when I was really digging deep into how to prompt better, I felt like some of those things I read online were kind of distracting. So I'm going to give you some ideas about like when we think about AI from a developer perspective, and how prompting is design thinking scaffolded. So GPT or any large language model, so that's Magic School AI, that Magic School AI is built on GPT and Gemini, whatever, you name it. Anything that has AI in the label, it doesn't think. It completes patterns. It's based upon probability. So what is most probable? And effective prompting controls the tone, depth, and structure of the output. So what you put in will really, really determine what you get out. So to be really effective with AI, you have to understand how it works exactly. So how it works, simplified, I had GPT help me with this, is it uses something called autoregressive. So it predicts one word at a time, and there's a token limit. The most important part, though, is this token limit. So this is saying, though, that what you put in and what you get out has a limit. There's no, like, the computer will not give you maybe a very in-depth response because of these limits. And this is why like companies will pay for access to these models so they can increase these limits. But you as like a normal user, you probably only have a token limit of 8,000. So you won't have as an in-depth or deep response compared to if you were to, be a developer and you pay for something else. So the other thing that we're going to talk about a little bit is temperature. And temperature, we're going to look at it. But temperature is basically how random the response is. So it's a variable that you can control if you're a developer, and it will return how random it is. Because we talked about statistical probability, and we're like, well, if it's just based upon statistical probability, then like every time I put in a prompt, it should return the same answer, right? And that's when temperature comes in, because we don't want to have the same answer every time we have a prompt, because that makes it sound really robotic. So GPT and those large language models use this temperature and top K basically, and it'll say like, okay, I'm going to take the top, 5% cutoff of statistical sampling, and now I'm going to do some randomization so I can get some creativity and put that into the mix. And then finally, basically GPTs and large language models, they're trained to be very helpful, polite, and vague, and that's the case unless you suppress it. So oftentimes when you chat with ChatGPT, it'll just be like, that's such a great idea. You're so good at what you do. Bravo. And if you're trying to improve something, sometimes that might not be the feedback that you want. So you might not want to have like 5 paragraphs of praise and then like 2 suggestions. You might want to have something more concrete about how you can actually fix things. So I encountered this a lot, this like overpraising when I was trying to design my own custom GPT. So there's some more stuff about how GPT works. You can take a look at that later. But essentially, we're going to talk about context and a little bit about the tokens. So first of all, you know, we had that demo where it was like, oh, you can upload an entire novel and then it'll pop out with the standards or the questions or whatever, your lesson essentially, right? So in that case, that's an example of uploading a file. So when you upload a file as a reference document, it will not take up your tokens. And that's really important because these tokens, remember, are like your limits of how good and how deep your response will be. So if you have like a set of standards, like in your case, let's say we want to align it to the Common Core ELA standards for 6th grade, that you want to upload as a document. And when you upload that as a document, ChatGPT will scan this document and take the most relevant parts and use that for its response without eating up your tokens, okay? So uploading lets GPT reference only what's needed. And it's much more efficient, and it's really great for if you want to do the books or the standards, things like that. So strategy 1, control the voice, format, and perspective. If you have ChatGPT open or an LLM, I encourage you to ask it why, what is the, if I put you as the role of an instructional coach, what type of tone you will have. So let's actually do that together. I'm going to open up ChatGPT and say, because oftentimes you see those like, give it a role. So let's go ahead and open it up. So I'm going to say like, oh my God, what is going on? Stuff is popping up. When I ask you to be a certain role, like an instructional coach, what is the tone and output you will have? And I really encourage you to just take any question that you might have about ChatGPT or about LLMs or about AI and just directly ask and try to just break it down and see what it is. So look, if you ask it to be an instructional coach, it will have a supportive and constructive tone. So it will be a peer helping you grow, not judging. Okay, so let's say like, what does this exactly mean? Like, what does this exactly mean? What are some examples of feedback you will give? So look at this. Here is the coach feedback. You've done a great job anchoring this lesson in real world. I'm curious, how are students practicing counter arguments? And you see here, they're providing praise at the very beginning of the statement. And so since everything is kind of like statistical probabilities, maybe your work isn't actually that good and it's just statistically probable since you said that you want an instructional coach, that it's just going to spit out something that makes you sound good, right? So that's something that I was struggling with because I was like, actually, I don't think what I've written is good. So why are you saying it's good? So in that case, we should not put the tone of like, oh, you are the role of X. Instead, you should be very explicit about the audience, who you are writing it for, the tone that you want. So you should say, be critical, provide, you can be even more explicit, provide 5 suggestions on how to improve this, whatever, and provide a format. So if you want a format, like put it in bullet points or put it as a slide, like a slide deck with speaker notes, you can provide that as well. So don't just give it a vague instruction like write a lesson plan about, animal adaptations or about hero's choice. If you give it that, it's going to give you a really vague response. So you can use, which is fine. It's a good starting point. But if you know how to prompt it effectively, you'll get a much better and more in-depth response. So the AI mechanism, though, behind the scenes is that GPT will actually mirror the tone, genre, and voice patterns of the prompt. So if you are like super polite in your prompting and you say, please, can you give me 3 examples of blah, 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 it will also be super polite in its response to you. And of course, the failure mode, you know that the GPT is no longer working so well, is if it defaults to formal and vague prose and being very polite. Okay, so that is strategy number 1. Be very explicit about the audience and it will give you a better output. Strategy number 2, and this is where computational thinking comes in and becoming a programmer is really great, is because you need to break big tasks into modular steps. Instead of saying something like, give me my weekly unit of X, you need to start breaking that down. So first of all, you can do that prompt first to get that broken down kind of like subtopics, but you would need to prompt again in order to have something more like having a better idea of like what to actually do. So for example, you might want to do, okay, here's my essential question. I want you to now, in my case, I said, I have a essential question or a standard. I want you to break down this standard so that you can give me all the places that students might have a misconception, what they should be able to understand in order to prove that they have understood this essential question, and overall understand. Like then after that, I move on to my second prompt, which is then focused on assessing their understanding of the essential questions. And then so it's like the rubrics and all of that. And then you move on to the activity. It's a backward design process. So don't do like a one-shot prompt. Always break it up and you'll get better results. And the AI mechanism behind that is, once again, it's token load. It can only give you so many tokens out. So you have to just deal with that constraint. So number 3 is label outputs for reuse. And this is really, really important. Use tags. These are variables. So your output, you can call it like a variable name. You'll be like, your output here, I want you to name this output. I put here, understanding by design stage 1. This is the understanding by design stage 1 document. I want you to reference this document for all further prompts. Because if you are not explicit that you are referencing this specific output from the AI, it will just grab something, you know, kind of general and spit it out for you. And so you might have some mismatches. And chaining is really great. So you can have a prompt that spits out the output for, in my case, it's understanding by design stage 1. Okay. Then from there, you can then ask again to say, now refer to understanding by design stage 1, essential questions and all of that information, to then do my next step, which is I want to have my assessments, stage 2. Then you can say, refer to this rubric in order to create my lesson planning. And now we are integrating effective pedagogy. It's no longer just spit out something that people have shared a billion times. Now it's you're the engineer about how you're going to do it, okay? So this helps with project continuity, and this is what prompt engineering is. This is what people want in companies. They want people to be able to break down a huge project, put it into smaller steps, and use AI to help scaffold and speed up that process. So the labels serve as anchoring points for all the chaining. And if you don't have the names or the structure, then it just kind of forgets and makes up stuff again. So this is the case, the strategy number 4. I think most people do this. They use GPT like a whiteboard. They ask for ideas. It's the idea bounce off phase. They'll be like, oh, this is what Coach Victor Hicks did. I want a lesson plan idea about like culture responsive with 4th grade. And maybe I have like a 2-hour time block or a 40-minute time block. Give me some ideas. So it's a drafting phase and it's really effective and just really fun. It's like one of my favorite phases. But if you just remember that it's a draft mode. You shouldn't take the first response as the final product. So strategy number 5 is to reset and reframe when GPT misfires. So if you've been working on a very, very long conversation, GPT has context tokens. So it only remembers so much information. And once it reaches that limit, it starts forgetting previous parts of the conversation. And that's when you get like, once again, like vague answers that are just kind of like shallow. And in that case, it's best to just open up a new conversation to start again. So just open a new conversation, start again, and see if you have a better response. Strategy number 6 is to ask for structured feedback and reflection. So when you're asking for feedback, once again, like GPT wants to be polite because it's been trained on lots and lots and lots and lots of polite feedback. And so you need to be very specific on what type of feedback you're looking for if you want to improve anything. So you can ask for feedback by clarity, like I want you to give me feedback on, this grant report that I'm going to submit, and I want to focus on clarity and tone for the audience of X. You can ask for it to reason and explain to you why it structured its things, how it does, and really just suppress the praise. I know we all want to like hear that we're great, but it's not really helpful when you're doing like a reflective and reiterative cycle. There's only so many tokens you have. So I'm just like, just stop giving me positive feedback. I just want direct suggestions. So the failure mode, of course, is that if it praises everything and invents logic, then just restart a conversation, try again. All right, strategy number 7 that you can do is you can generate contrasting versions. So you're writing an email, you can say, create this email in 2 formats, make it a warm and the second one as a formal. And then you could compare and contrast the two, decide which one you like better. If you like both of them, you could kind of ask it to combine them together for you to give just more ideas, and just it's just a better way of like broadening your scope of choices. I do this a lot with feedback. I'm like, give me five feedback options, peer feedback options, and then I'll go and be like, okay, I don't like this, I like this, I don't like this, I like this. Same thing with sentence starters. I'll be like, generate 20 sentence starters for this topic of 5th grade, and then from those sentence starters, I can then pick and choose which ones I think are most appropriate. But if you're doing like a long like email or like a document, you don't want to, once again, overload the AI. So do ask to limit to 2 to 3 versions so it doesn't get overloaded again and go back to being vague and boring and general and the same. Okay, so the strategy number 8, this is really, really important. Upload your rubrics. Upload all of your standards. So if you are teaching computer science and you align to the CSTA standards, make sure that the most updated CSTA standards is downloaded. That's a great question. Does the number of tokens depend on the subscription type you have, paid versus free, or is it not related? It would depend upon the LLM. And I would say, yes, it matters, because that is probably, in my opinion, the biggest factor of of good, like of the content being spit out, because you can just provide more context. And if you provide it more context, then it can use that to get exactly what you want. Because remember, you're the expert. You know how to do the instructional design. You know what you want out. So you should use prompting as a way to get the output that you want more effectively. So yeah, but for standards, make sure you upload those, and then you ask GPT to cite where it aligns so it does not hallucinate, And don't say like vague references like, oh, align to the state standards. It doesn't know what state, it doesn't know what year, because oftentimes if you ask GPT, align to CSTA standards, it's giving you the wrong standards because it's the standards that were referenced like 5 years ago or whatever years ago, and it's outdated. It's not the most recent standards. So always make sure to download the most recent standards and upload those. So I've noticed that a lot for the standards in particular. Yeah, and even when it cites things, it makes stuff up. You have to check everything. This is really important. So check everything. AI is dumb. It's based upon statistical stuff. So just remember, if everyone starts saying like, I don't know, the earth is flat, it'll start saying the earth is flat, you know? Yes. So the best way for CSTA is just download it and upload it. Do not refer to it. Don't say CSTA 2017. It will not work. I've tried it. It always gives me the wrong standards. I always have to re-upload it personally. So you're talking about the environmental impact of AI. So I am not an expert at that at all. I do not look into that at all. So we would have to maybe like let someone else take over for that part because that was not, I don't have any slide on that. Anybody want to pop in about the environmental impact of AI? Otherwise, I can go ahead and find out, or we can ask GPT and then I can go and research it afterwards. But it's pretty much the computing power that's needed because in order for AI to run, you need a really, really, really powerful, what is it called? Sorry, NVIDIA graphics card. Sorry, I just blanked. Oh my God. Yeah, you need a really powerful graphics card in order to be able to power all this computation, and that requires energy and blah, blah, blah. So all that stuff. Data centers, maybe even cooling because it gets overheated. So it's a huge energy bucket. But how much of an impact it is, I'm not really sure. We would have to look into that some more. Okay, so strategy number 9 is to ask GPT to read like a student or parent. So you have completed your whatever you're doing, your lesson, your email, your draft of whatever, and you'll put it into GPT and say, analyze this, read it like a student. Maybe you want to be more specific. It'd be like, read it like a parent who is English language learner and spot any inconsistencies or difficult language, etc. And it can give another perspective. So the failure mode is that, yeah, if it starts pretending to be an expert again, just try again, open up a new chat, try again. And so I really like this is now we start seeing something called a prompt debugging framework. And so the first step in a prompt debugging framework is that you're going to draft out your prompt and then you're going to predict. You're going to say, okay, what do I expect my output to be? What do I want my output to be? So let's say I have a lesson. I want to do a lesson. I'm going to draft a prompt that says, I want to do a lesson on functions in sequence. Then I'm going to predict what the lesson should be in my ideal scenario world. I'm going to test that prompt and see how well it matches the output that I envisioned, diagnose it, go back, reframe my prompt, maybe add some more context, upload a template so that it can refer to it for the output. And then I'm going to reiterate the cycle until I get exactly what I want. Okay, so final thoughts really quick. Use GPT as a collaborator. Always analyze what it puts out. And it's not a substitution for thinking. And good output means good prompt engineering, and that takes time. So everything that is kind of good, it will require some time. You shouldn't expect a good output on the first try. That just won't happen. And let AI help scaffold your creativity. You bring the judgment, and I want you to test out my lesson GPT and see what you think. So I really hate formatting language. I I just don't like doing it. I will spit out a whole bunch of sentences and I will tell GPT, make this clear and concise as an instruction for a fifth grade student. I want it to do that all the time. Okay? I don't have my standards memorized. I know that elementary can be standards aligned, but I don't have them memorized. So I wanted something to help me with that. And I also needed help with breaking up big projects. So someone comes up to me and they say, okay, well, I think a choose your own adventure surrounding the Age of Explorers is a great idea. I'm like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Now what? How do we make it so that students can actually go through this project? Because it's a big project. It's not a project like, oh, you're going to make 3 pages and then play a voiceover, right? Like, how do you do that? And I also really like brainstorming ideas about using elementary's blocks. So that was kind of like the motivation behind creating this GPT. And you can actually try it out. I think I published it. I'm not sure how it works with if you're not a paid subscriber. Do you know if you can use custom GPTs if it's on free tier? But if it's not, it's okay. I have an alternative. It's called it's my instruction prompt, and you can put that into any LLM, whether it's GPT or Magic School or whatever you want. But we're gonna first try it gives you a 404 error. Let's see. Is it because it's not public? Let's take a look. So I'm in ChatGPT now. I do pay the however many, like $20 per month or something like that. It's the only thing that I pay for. I don't pay for anything else. But let's see if I go to my GPTs. Oh, it's only me. That's why. Let me make it public. How do I make it public? I did it before, and then anyone with the link. Save. Does it work now? Able to go in? Okay. So a custom GPT basically allows you to upload files. Here, let me go ahead and copy. It's this one. Elementary GPT lesson builder. I think the one that Paige put, the lesson planner, that one was an older one. It's not as good. That was my first draft. This is my second draft. We're getting there. We're getting there. But it should be okay now, the one I linked, the very last one. So for this one in particular, I have I have 6 documents I've uploaded. I have all of my instructions here. And for these instructions, I use GPT to help with creating the instructions. And you'll see these documents later. I'll share those with you. And can someone just give me like a lesson idea or a standard, something like that in the chat, and we'll see how it runs. Chat, are you there? Hi. Everyone's like clicking my link. They're like, I'm going to do it myself.
We're still trying to get in. So Nicole, once I clicked on the link, I don't know if anybody else is having this issue, and then I signed into my own account. I'm not getting yours.
Okay, well.
So do you have a name of your GPT?
Hold on, let me see. Is it because I have to like update it again or something? You're able to get into the other one though, or no? I'm not sure if I didn't test.
Heather was able to. Yeah, we were able to get into the one that was on slide 56.
One of them is old.
Lesson planner?
Slide 56. This is the old one. This should not be the right one.
Right, but when I go into my own ChatGPT account and I look for I'm not getting into yours.
Let's see.
It's like it lets you see a whole bunch, but I don't know if anybody else is able to get in. If somebody else is able to get in, let us know.
I think Heather was able to get into the new one. The title of it is what? Elementary GPT Lesson Builder is the name, but it's not public on the store. I think it's just one for the. Let me see if I can get a better link, since it is a newer one.
All right, Julia, which one did you get into, and can you put the link in?
Oh, sorry, it says only me again. Why does it say only me again? Okay, I'm gonna copy the link again. Sorry. I don't know. It just keeps saying only me for the share. Let me refresh again. Okay. Okay, I put something in the chat. Does it work?
Yes. Okay, good.
Okay,
So
okay.
that one worked. What I
Okay.
did, just in case anybody else has problems, I signed into my ChatGPT account first, and then I clicked on the link. So if you can't get in, try that. Thank you.
Okay, I like this. Develop and use models to explain cellular components. Is that a standard? Is there a standard link to that? Or what grade level? Well, we can leave it at that. So we'll try
I'm sorry. Sixth grade. Sixth grade.
Sixth grade. Okay. For
life science.
Sixth grade. Life science. Perfect. So on my screen, I just put develop and use models to explain cellular components for sixth grade life science. Let's go ahead and press enter and let's see what happens. So great, let's begin with module 1, understanding by design, stage 1, conceptual planning for the sixth grade. Science standard, develop and use models to explain. So you have the standard rewritten for students, key concept and skills, flag terms, plus access support, like what can you do to help with that? You'll have prerequisite knowledge and readiness. So they should know this stuff prior. And what might be barrier strategies to help with those. I don't know if I can make this bigger. Let me see if I can zoom in. Can I? Is that a little bit better for you guys if I zoom in?
Yes. Yeah, much better.
Okay. So then let's go down. These are the enduring understandings. This is what we want to get out of it. Students will understand that models help explain how the parts of a system work together, even if we can't see them directly. So transfer would be applied to systems thinking in geography, engineering, or ecosystems. And there's an equity link if you want to think about that. It talks about effective understanding. And then also the finally essential questions. So these are the essential questions probably for the lesson. Why do cells have so many different parts doing different jobs? And what part of a cell reminds you of yourself and why, if you want to be all identity focused? So red part here is common misconceptions. And the common misconception is all cells are the same and why it happens, some clarifications that you can give. Similarly, there's another one. Misconception number 3, a model has to be perfect or 100% realistic. So models are tools for explanation, not exact copies. And now it will say, will you like to continue to module 2, assessment planning? And I will say, yes. So then I'll do his thing. Awesome. Okay. Module 2, understanding by design, stage 2 assessment. So I based all of my prompting and all of my resources on understanding by design principles and UDL principles. So that is embedded throughout all of the responses because I deliberately put that in there. So cornerstone performance tasks, performance thinking description. This is the success criteria that you'll use in your rubrics and feedback. Explain how each cell part helps drive the cell to survive, connect, blah, blah, blah. Support their model design with evidence and reasoning. Use accurate scientific vocabulary, revise. So here are some different assessments that you can use. So summative, formative. Here are some formative checks tables that you can refer to. And for all of these are really just places to start. If you want to go more in depth, you can then prompt ChatGPT to help with creating those organizers or those tasks. So additional assessment tasks that you can think about, and some student-facing rubrics if you want to use those. Reflection questions and starters. And let's move on to stage 3, which is the interactive project brainstorm. So this is the fun part. You say yes, and now it's going to spit out a whole bunch of elementary activities or projects that you can do. So I split it up. So there are 3 projects that are like minimum code, then 3 projects that are a little bit more challenging code, and 3 projects that are a little bit more advanced code. So you can just stick and see which one you like. And if you don't like any of these, you can say, I want more low floor interactive projects. Give me some, and it'll give you some different ideas. So the first project is a cell tour voice book, a narrative slide book where each page introduces one organelle with the image and a voiceover. So of course the coding that you would use is on page start, play the recorded sound block, and introduce all of those organelles. You can have a cell city gallery where each slide compares a cell part to a community role. So the nucleus could be the mayor, and students explain with icons and captions. You can do a zoom in cell poster. Students design a poster style project showing a full cell with clickable hotspots on each part that displays a short explanation. So you can click on something, go to slide, or to show a pop-up detail. If you want to do a little bit more advanced coding, you can drag and place organelles into an empty cell template and explain why they're important. Use the drag over to trigger audio, or go to confirmation pages. I can't even speak properly anymore. If the nucleus disappears, you can, animate a what if story showing the effects of missing one key organelle. Or you could do a cell comparison slide. So any of those speak out to you, of those project ideas? So the cell city gathering. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead. So basically at the very bottom, it'll say, would you like to select one of these to develop into a milestone plan in module 4? And then you say, yes, I want, there's also here. These are special voice and language projects. So you can do a cell wrapper poem or a cell character interview or a cell story in 2 languages. So those are more ideas. But let's say cell city gallery project. And Heather has a question. Would you be willing to share your configuration? I want to see if I can recreate it in Gemini. And yes, I will share with you a wonderful, I call it an auto prompting doc that you can then use and upload into any LLM of your choice. So, and then you can see how you can then design your own. So I'm in my cell city gallery. Okay. So now it has broken down this project into the slides for elementary. So you have a title page, create a title page. Welcome to Cellville. Meet the cell. So now the task is to add a slide that shows the full cell diagram and explain the idea. A cell is like a city because each part has a job. Okay. Milestone 3, you're going to design a slide showing the cell wall membrane as a city wall or a gate. Explain what it protects or lets in. You can also, they have some suggestions for code overview. You can ignore it or leave it. So the nucleus is a mayor. Add a slide where the nucleus is shown as the mayor or control tower or whatever. Students choose images or draw their own, include voice or caption. So this is great and all, but what you want is you want that student organizer. That's what you want, because that is what students will fill out. This sounds great and all, but it's not giving you the do now. And that's what we want. So we're going to go all the way down, and it's going to say, would you like to generate the student planning organizer? And I'm going to say, yes, I want to generate this student planning organizer. So now, if you notice, this looks very similar to the student organizers that you've seen. So I, in my head, already know what kind of output I want. I want a, what is this project about? And then you will create section that says what you'll exactly do. Then I want to have, I don't have a brainstorm section. I forgot that in my GPT, but essentially you would have a kind of brainstorm session before the slide one, but can't be perfect, right? So slide one, title page, sentence starters. Welcome to blank, a city that shows how a cell works. In this gallery, you'll explore ... Meet the cell. How is a cell like a city? Sentence starters. A cell is like a city because ... Each part of the cell is like a ... So, and it continues like that for all the different pages. The prompts, the sentence starters, and if we go down, you'll have also the word bank. So then you'll have cell parts and metaphors. You'll have maybe some city jobs and places if you want, maybe some actions and verbs, some other descriptive words if you want. Generally, I notice that the word bank that this version is producing is not the best on the first iteration. So you might have to prompt it to make sure that it upgrades its vocabulary, especially if you're teaching upper grade levels. You might want to use, especially like in narrative writing, you might want to have like more stretch words. I do have some stretch words here, but you see they're not like, some of them are okay, but some of them are not so great. Like important, like who cares about the word important? I think everyone knows important. Same with safe. Like what is this word doing here? So this can be obviously improved, but it gives you a place to start. Then you have a final checklist, and then, yay, I'm ready to design and code my gallery. Then you have your coding cheat sheet where you can, copy and paste your code snippets. And then it'll say, okay, now I want the assessment toolkit. Yes, I want the assessment toolkit. So then it'll give you the assessment toolkit. So I personally really like single point rubrics because I think they are easy for the teacher and they make sure that the students know exactly what they have to do. It's either they do it or they haven't reached that point, right? And it's much more, you can continuously implement the single point rubric like throughout the project, just do check-ins. But you also have, student reflection questions, sentence starters, peer feedback options. So for peer feedback options, you see I have format A. You can do an open feedback table, okay? You can do a peer review panel, or you can do just a criteria checklist, and it gives you some ideas for that. So it's not just spitting out one peer review format, but gives you a couple that you can maybe be like, this one looks good. Nah, I don't like this one. Maybe this one's better. And then it has feedback sentence starters, questions and clarification sentence starters, suggestion sentence starters, exit ticket prompts, and that wraps up the assessment toolkit. So that has been my work. I don't know when I started it last week or something to do the understanding by design. And I will show you now what time is it? I feel like I talk so much. I just forget all of time. It's
4:15, 4:17
on. Oh my God. Yeah. Okay, so then now I will share with you the docs itself. Let me go ahead and not make this super big. And I actually made this custom GPT after I made the docs. So let me find the docs itself so you can see what that looks like. So I believe this is it. So this is actually one of the, did I open up access for this too? Maybe not. Oh, I did. Everyone has access to it. Great. So this is if you don't want to access my custom GPT and you want to, try it on Gemini or you want to try it on whatever LLM of your choice, then you can actually just upload step 1, understanding by design, stage 1 prompt set. And if you open this up, if you're interested, it talks, this is my system instructions telling me exactly what I want. And then basically once you upload it, you can just copy and paste the prompt in the box and just instead of the paste your standard, just literally put your standard theme, topic, whatever, just like how we did, what was it, the model cells or whatever. And then you press enter and then it goes. Step 2 then would be to upload the step 2 document. You see, in my prompt, I say generate and clearly title the output as stage 1 understanding map. So I can then refer to this variable called stage 1 understanding map throughout this conversation. So that's a really fun strategy. So I had fun making this. I think I learned a lot about how AI and LLMs work in general. But I do wanted to go into where is it? The playground. Let me see if I can find the playground before we open up and open up some discussion before the end. Where's my playground? So then you can see what I mean by all of those fancy words that you probably forgot, and I already forgot too. With the tokens and the temperature and all that stuff. Okay. So anyone with a GPT account can actually go ahead and go and open up this playground. I actually think it's more cost effective because I was running the simulation and I'm like, you pay by how much you put in. So you don't pay a monthly subscription. You pay by how much you use it. And so it's like a top off system. So you pay $10 and then you can use a lot of tokens. So I just put in some prompts and so I was total spending, there's nothing. So I asked how many prompts do I need in order to spend $10 of credit? And it was a lot of prompts. So if you're on a budget, this might actually be pretty good. Just saying. Anyway, I spent what, 2 cents was it? I think it was 2 cents. Yeah, 2 cents. So pay as you go. So in this is called the playground. This allows developers to really fine tune what models they want. So from here, you can choose what model you want. We don't really care about that. The models is the database of information. What we care about is these little fun variables, those little sliders, right? So the first slider is temperature. So temperature is how random things are. So if you put it to 0, it means it's not going to be very random. It's going to be very literal. And you can increase or decrease your max tokens. So increasing your max tokens will cost you more. Decreasing it is whatever. Top P is, we don't care about that. I just want to show you temperature. So if I say temperature and I say something like, write me a poem about the moon. Whispers of the moon, silver guardian of the night, you rise in silence, soft and bright, a lantern hung in velvet skies, reflecting dreams in watchful eyes, blah, 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 blah. Whatever. I don't really care about that. So let's move on and let's now make our temperature instead of 0 all the way up to 200. Okay, so now it's 200. And let's see if I do the same prompt. Write me a poem about the moon. And now this is my poem. You'll see there are just like, there's random Chinese characters in here, Korean characters in here, orbit, quiet, above, published, unique, like this doesn't even make sense anymore. I want to just stop it. And that's what temperature is. Temperature is the randomization of it. And this is what makes things creative. And then you have, I think it's you have another one that crops the most, like what percentage of randomization it wants to get in order to get your creative outputs. So that gives you a little bit of idea of the mechanism behind AI. It's not just a black box, and there are a lot of human input to change things and influence it in certain ways. And that's why it's really important that we think critically about everything that comes out of an AI response. And the thing is, like, we can't be like, where do you get that information from, right? Like, that's what the hard part about AI. Anyway, that's my little soapbox. Any questions? I just talked a lot about everything.
Have you ever encountered where you, because I went through and I added my own prompt, and the very last thing was a Google Doc link.
It will not generate the Google Doc. It will not. And that's
But
just
the link, no, it said Google Doc link.
Yeah, it won't generate it. It won't generate. I don't know why GPT keeps saying that it's going to generate. It will never generate. It will generate, like same with the slides. I think it will generate a docx file or a PDF, maybe. I know for sure for slides, it generates the PowerPoint, and you can download the PowerPoint and then upload that into Google Slides. That's what I did because I was like, I was so frustrated. I was like, why are you not creating my Google Slides, even though you keep saying you're going to make these Google Slides for me? Like,
Thanks for letting me know.
Yeah, you should just like anytime you encounter anything, you could just be like really rude and just rant at ChatGPT. That's what I do all the time. I'm like, why is it not working like this? Explain your reasoning because it doesn't make any sense at all whatsoever. And you keep saying it does this, but it really doesn't. Angry typing on keyboard. Okay. So, I talked really, really fast about very technical things. But I hope that kind of shares a different perspective of AI that I don't think is really shared that often. So you can kind of see a little bit about the inner workings and how you can be the kind of like the engineer behind the responses a bit more. So that's my ending piece. Anything else?
I actually have a question. So I clicked the link that sent us to your the
GPT
elementary ChatGPT thing, and I didn't even type anything in because one of the prompts that was at the bottom of the list was, hey, do you want to try this? And I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds good. So I clicked that, and then it said like 12 different ideas. And I was like, okay, yes, I want all these ideas. But what I was looking for was, were those actual lessons that you already have on elementary?
No, none of those are actual lessons on elementary right now. So the reason
this is the part that's so hard for me because that looked convincing. And I was like, yes, all of these look really good. Where are these lessons? But my real question is, so I went to elementary to like go to your search bar and like type in the name of a lesson or the name of a topic, and you don't have a search bar.
Yeah, well, we don't have very many lessons yet, so we haven't implemented a search yet. That's on our list once we get to more. So once we get to the point where it's like, okay, we got to have a search, then which will be soon.
Then Okay, awesome. Then going back to what I found and what it presented to me, which was so enticing, and I was like, yeah, I want all these. How does it, if I just say, yeah, write me a lesson on these things that I'm thinking are real things, it's actually just going to invent and write this? I'm so sorry. I know I
No, no,
sound
no, no,
so
no, 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 no. So
like,
AI is like really, really good if you're an expert. So if you're an expert and you feed it all the context, so I have a document on there that says all the context of elementary blocks. I say we have these blocks on elementary that do this. And so then it's able to grab from that knowledge base. And so it doesn't invent like things that you can't do typically. I mean, it still kind of
yeah.
does because my doc isn't as complete as it could be. As you provide more detail for it and more context, it's able to spit out like more information that's correct. So you would choose your favorite project, okay? And then
Right.
Thursday, we will go in and build that lesson on
Well, it
elementary.
got it. Okay, so what it built for me, I went back and I said, well, I want one from each category in a blah blah blah, and it did it, and I just kind of got, oh my gosh, this is too much. Let me go back. Let me just choose option number 8. So I went back and I chose option 8, and it fully like wrote out everything. Like I was literally, well, you get it. Yeah, I'm watching it write this thing right in front of me. Um,
So
but what you're saying is I'm going to take that and then I'm going to go build the lesson in elementary.
exactly, because it
Got
already,
it.
the hardest part is done. The hardest part is breaking it up, getting all the sentence starters and all that stuff, and
Right.
and
That's what's
getting the
so daunting.
vocabulary and what do I even ask students for assessment and reflection? So that's why I built these reference docs so that I don't have to keep prompting over and over again, being like, create for me an
Right, right,
assessment.
right. I
No,
feel
it's
like
not good enough.
so with no experience in this, I feel like, and clearly I have no shame because I'm willing to admit this to all of you. I feel like the rest of you are like just doing the shaking my head thing. And I'm sitting here going, oh my gosh, this is going to save me like so much time this whole year. And the rest of you are probably like, where has this woman been for the last 15 years or whatever it's been?
Hmm. So
But
this
yeah,
is
this
why
is
I want to
pretty
show how
amazing.
powerful custom GPTs are because this is a custom one. I can design exactly what output I want. So I
Wow.
went in with a very like instructional design mindset. I mean, I studied education, back when, and understanding by design was like my favorite framework because it makes sense to me. It's like the engineering
I
design
actually got to
process.
work. I actually got to work with him with Jay McTighe. Yeah, it was pretty amazing. That's how old I am.
So like it makes sense to me. So I ground a lot of my reasoning behind that. But if you want to use another framework, you can create a GPT that does that. And that's why it's so powerful to do. And it's like very minimum cost and like it's pretty great. So if anybody's interested in the process of how I built this, because there's a lot of documents, then feel free to reach out and like I'd be more than happy to like kind of like walk you through if you're interested in building something for yourself. But I would highly encourage you to look at what is it? I have a prompt set doc, right? And it's linked to all of the documents that are in my custom GPT. So this means since I have the documents, I have the context, I'm not constrained by ChatGPT. So I can take these documents, I can go into Gemini and I could do the same thing. It might have a little bit different output, but it would give me something. So no problem, Ben. Yeah, my kids are sleeping, thankfully. So, but yeah, I don't want to be like, oh, because a lot of the talk about AI is just, it's black boxy. It's got a lot of data and then it just like spits it out and it's great, but we have to be careful of it. So always think like, why? And ChatGPT is really great for that because it gives you a starting point. I don't know anything about AI. I don't have like any education in AI. One of my good friends works for like Google AI search, but like what's funny is he doesn't even use AI. So When I asked him, he was like, they don't allow us to use AI at work, or we have to use this really clunky one that's worse than ChatGPT. But yeah, so for me, it was a lot of it was just like prompting ChatGPT, like, how do you come up with this answer? Why is it this way? And this type of deep questioning and deep thinking is what like we want our students to have, because that's the skills that will transfer and translate into their futures. It's not about what job they're going to have. Who cares about the job? It's not going to even be there in like 20 years. I don't know how many people who are in computer science or in STEM and all those like fancy jobs that they're already worried about their future, and there's just like cuts everywhere across the board. So we have to like really focus on something that's deeper, like your identity, grounding yourself, your community. I think that's what's the key for what we should really focus on, rather than the end result of like, oh, you're going to go to college and get a job and make money, because no one can guarantee that, unfortunately. Oh, something else that's interesting. So I kind of made this comparison. I was thinking back because I did a lot of research in secondary language acquisition, and one of the big things with language learners is the Lexile, right? Anybody use Lexile in their schools, or is like a really big fan of Lexile or something? Does anyone know how they come up with the Lexile number? So when they say you are 800 Lexile, how do they even come up with that number? Running records. So according to the papers published by, I think it's Metametric are the people behind Lexile, it is not state assessment. It is not running records. You won't even believe it. You won't even believe it. When I was reading the paper that was published, they don't leak everything, but they had to publish some sort of like reasoning behind their methodology, right? They have, according to the papers, there's two main criterias. The first one is word frequency. The second one is sentence length. So if you are an ELL student, like idioms are going to have very frequent words, but they won't be able to understand it. Things like the words analyze, that also has a high frequency, but it's a difficult word. And that's pretty much it. It's like, it's just word frequency and sentence length. And so you can kind of simulate, because I tried to simulate a model for Lexile. I was like, can I do a Lexile model, but include like special words to have a better model? And yeah, it was a very interesting exercise for me when I looked into detail. I was like, the model was only like two variables pretty much. Well, they say in like later on that they include, reading records or whatever, but there's no paper that shows that. So to me, I don't know, like it's all in the air for that. I don't really quite believe it. So personally. And that's why we don't rely on it heavily. Exactly. Because word frequency and sentence length, that's it. Like just two. Come on, gotta be better than that. So it's always important to understand, where do we get our numbers from? And then when we know where we get the numbers from, we can then question, is this an accurate representation of what we want? If so, we can make some decisions. If not, then, brings up a lot of questions. But anyway, okay, so for the remaining time, I hope you guys are just playing around with the GPT, and I don't know if you guys want to go into breakout rooms at the end, or if we just leave early, or because I'm pretty much done with my segment. I was going to say go into breakout rooms, but I feel like at the end everyone is like pooped and dead. So, but if you want to chat, we can always go in and talk. I'm always down for that.
Can you just clarify again this final project that we are going to be doing.
Okay.
Just, yeah, thanks.
Great. Perfect. So I will clarify. So you have now used this prompter, or you've gone and used the step-by-step teacher flow autopilot prompt and files doc, and you got like some lesson with like milestones, vocabulary, etc. So tomorrow, what we will be doing is essentially taking, where am I? We'll be taking that information and formatting it. So you can go ahead and copy and paste, for example, so I'll make a cleaner version of this, but you'll go ahead and copy and paste your segments to create a, oh, sorry. Thank you.
You need to share your screen,
Yep.
Nicole.
Yep. I'm here. All right. So I will make I'll make a cleaner version of this, but essentially you'll go ahead and copy like an existing template. And you see all of your stuff starts with what is this project about? Then it has like, it doesn't have a brainstorm section, unfortunately, because I forgot that part. It skips to the pre-writing planning section. And then you just fill in what they tell you for here, here, here. And then make sure that it makes sense. Does it make sense that I have, a title on page 1, that I have, I think, let me find the.
Okay, this is really blowing my mind because I do all this stuff from scratch. And I'm looking at this going, is this how you made all these things?
Yes.
And I'm just wondering what I've been spending my time doing.
Oh, don't worry. I made it from scratch at the beginning too. And then I was like, this is too much. I have to do other stuff. So I can't be making it from scratch all the time. But yeah, so that's why the format looks very similar to this, because I tried my best to kind of copy this format where, they would type their stuff in. This is not the best one because I actually got feedback from a student who is who's a neurodiverse student, and he was saying like, yeah, for example, the Mad Libs ones are better. That we need to color code everything. So this is the feedback.
Yeah, I'm a big color code person.
Yeah, so thank you. If you find any ways to make all of these better, then that would be great. But like this is kind of like the idea. So you see that there's a peer review thing. This would be the peer review template. You would copy and paste it, change the boxes here, and then most of your stuff is done, right? So let's see, like my poem generator, fill in the blank. Oh, this is my peer. Let's find my actual project. This one's my actual project. So I think I would need to update my instructions because I don't have this box in it. But you get the idea. You would copy and paste what's here, copy and paste, what's here. The brainstorm is not there, but at the very least you have the milestones, the major things. So once you have the pre-planning kind of document done, this is the hardest part. Then you go into elementary. You go into your lesson builder. You create a brand new lesson. You call it my awesome lesson. You could ignore the duration. Just, I have to put something. Doesn't matter. I put something down and then boom. Click milestone 1. You would just copy and paste milestone 1 to be like, well, in this case, milestone 1 is always going to be your pre-writing. So it would be like pre-writing. Okay. Save changes. Do I want step-by-step instructions? No. Okay, go next. And here's where you'll say, I'm here in my planning document. I'll say page 1 title. So I'll say title page 1. I'll copy paste page 1 title. I go here. Like, what's the title of your game? Include step-by-step instructions. And now you're going to build the minimum project. So the title of my game is going to be just a text box. Title of, I can't even spell anymore. Game. You can add in extra tips. So this is where you would go into maybe here, and you would maybe copy and paste the little fill in the blank prompt. Too many tabs open. Where am I? Where am I? Where am I? Here. The blank, add a cat if you want, or whatever GIF. So technically it should be like, to be more clear with the instruction, write the title of your game. Okay. And then the right side, every time you code or do anything, let's say you want them to animate it, then the instructions auto-populate. There you go. So now milestone 1 is to write the title and to code a play text effect. And you can now move on to the second page, page 2. And do the same thing. What's my page 2? Ask for the player inputs, etc. The only thing then at this point is you may need to break down some of those milestones even more, because there might be too many steps on the right side. So if you have like coding buttons, you might want to say like design your page and then code your buttons on a separate milestone. It would depend upon what you're looking for, because we don't want to have like 20 million instructions on like page 2 on the right side. That's why it's like green. And once it starts getting to be like orange and red, you're like, maybe it's not a good idea. So you see, now it's 15 steps to do all of that. And so then the students will then, just like how you did with the step-by-step, they'll just follow along step-by-step. So that's where we're going. And don't worry, because we're going to do a smaller project together. So like think about what kind of welcome back, intro project you want. Something that's just 1 page or 2 pages max. Something with just maybe 1 function, like a play record sound or a couple little things. And then we'll work on that Thursday. And then Thursday afternoon will be really to flesh out these documents, so you can have those set. And Friday will be building it in elementary, testing each other's projects and all of that. So that's kind of like the flow.
I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Mhm.
I noticed that at one point it asked about, do you want to do step by step? You said no. And then another point you said yes. What was the difference between the first no and the second yes?
So you can have milestones that are just description that don't have any step by step. So like I like to do that for the pre-writing. You'll be like, oh, use this pre-writing document. Or you might say, oh, I want you to go watch this video, or it could be whatever. But you could put those in the middle if you want. If you want to say like in the middle of your project, say, I don't know, go use this rubric to like give some feedback to other classmates or something. You can include extra ones that don't have any step-by-step. If you don't care for the step-by-step, if you want to just create a project that's just more open-ended, you can do that too. You could just provide a description and just say, oh, my milestone 1 is I want you to create a title. And your milestone 2 would be like, oh, write the introduction of your character, or milestone 3. So then you don't have the steps to constrain. It's just that the step-by-step builder allows them to, go through and do the coding, just like how you guys did.
Okay. So you said no to steps because for your first milestone, it was just pre-writing. There were no steps.
There were no steps. That's why.
Got it.
So Kathy asked, will I be going through this step-by-step tomorrow? Yes, we will be going through it tomorrow, and we will be doing our own mini lesson together first, and then I'll you guys can go figure out what kind of project you want. But the mini lesson will just be like a one pager that we'll do together. That's why I said think about kind of like maybe a welcome back to school sort of project that you might want to do. Lauren asked, when you're doing the milestones, can you go back and make changes? Yes. So you can go back to make changes in the sense of like, I can add more steps at the end. I can also delete certain stuff. We'll go through like if I want to, I can't reorder though. So I can only add to the bottom. I can delete certain steps. Like if I accidentally say like, oh, resize or something, then it doesn't like it. Yeah. So that's why it's kind of, oh, it won't let me do that here. I think it's because it's only, you can only add steps to the last milestone. So if you want to reorder, if you want to go back and change, it may be possible. I would have to go look on our code end. Because I can do it since I have like master permissions, but I'm not sure if you could do it here. But you can go back and like add extra instructions like remember this. Okay, anything else? And yeah, if you have not yet filled out our form, midweek form, please do. I'll put it again in the chat. And that would really help us with understanding how to improve this and yeah, what you liked, what you didn't like, because what we do here is kind of different, I think. So it may or may not have a good reception, is all I'm going to say. Anything else you want to add, Paige? Thank you so much for being here. Yay, Paige! Paige is the
You're
best.
very welcome. All right. So yeah, if anybody has any questions, let us know ahead of time if there's anything that you need before tomorrow. Otherwise, yeah, make sure to fill out that form so that we can help you. And I hope everybody has a great evening, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow.